The Maple Leafs get ready for an intriguing offseason, but how exactly will they go about it? Hey, everyone, welcome to Inside the Leafs. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun Maple Leafs writers Terry Koshan and Lance Hornby. And guys, hard to believe it, but here we are getting ready for free agency, which kicks off on July the 1st. I think at this point we know all the names involved when it comes to the free agent pool. Terry, a lot of moving parts still here for Brad Treliving, but just when you look at it as a whole, what do you think the priority should be for him once July 1st kicks off?
Well, I think the priority should be what Treliving has talked about, right? And he talked about it again yesterday with this DNA change, and if you can get to that by infusing some new blood, and I think that the first option is Brad Marchand, and perhaps the only one in that regard who can really kind of come in and give the Leafs that sort of jolt that's required. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but with Sam Bennett likely ticketed back to the Panthers, and the Panthers being a club that doesn't have a ton of space under the cap, they're not going to be able to do everything that they want, no matter what GM Bill Zito said after they won the Cup last week. So that to me is the priority. I guess the caveat to that is, though, you can change the DNA by bringing in players in that they bring that with them. But how does it change the guys who are already here and have been here for such a long time? How do people like William Nylander and, of course, Captain Austin Matthews approach the game any differently, if at all? And how do they get those results in the playoffs? So, we'll see where this goes. I mean, the options aren't great for Brad Treliving in free agency. We know that. The best player available by a long shot is the one that is about to leave the organization. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Right now he's got just under $26 million at his disposal, but some of that's going to go to John Tavares, some of that's going to go to Matthew Nyes. So that number will drop a bit. But it's got to be some sort of infusion of veteran experience. And, Brad Marchand, to me, would certainly be a guy that would fit that bill.
Well, certainly they have to replace 100 points in Mitch Marner. That's a given. That he's gone. You can move some pieces around right now, and they do have a pretty good right winger in William Nylander still, and he can possibly move up, or you move some people around right now. But to Terry's point, it is a rather not a thin free agent market, but you just know that some guys aren't going to be moving on from their destinations. Bennett certainly falls in that category, and then you have to look around. There's you do have Brock Besser if the Marchand thing falls through. You have Nicholas Ehlers, you have Patrick Kane. So there are names out there, but are they going to be, again, to Terry's point, the people who are going to move the needle for the Maple Leafs where it has to go in terms of playoff intensity? And again, it is a long way until next April, and you had the 100 points of Mitch Marner helping the Leafs certainly get up that road, and certainly that you have to have some offense, you have to have some character that is going to get them to that place. And then you worry about the DNA change coming in playoffs. But, we were both there yesterday at the press conference, and a lot of Leafs walking around already in summer gear. You saw the coach, Craig Berube, walking around too. So it was sort of a reminder to me that they still have a pretty good team. And I think, you do some tweaking and be a very interesting year as they build and what they have, and maybe bring in someone, and again, just getting back to a name I missed, Andrew Mangiapane is a guy who has some bite. Brad Treliving had him in Calgary, of course, so just might be somebody who's kind of off the radar who comes in. It is a long way till spring, and you never know, though. Organically, the Leafs might produce this DNA change within.
I guess the other thing I'd add to it, too, is something we haven't really said said anywhere. So, they make a DNA change. What does it mean? Does that mean they're automatically going to win the Stanley Cup? Not necessarily. I mean, so what does that entail? Moving past the first round or the second round? I don't know. There are a lot more questions than answers right now for this whole thing going into, the draft this weekend, and then, of course, free agency next week.
Absolutely. Now we know Brad Treliving's calling card, Lance, is loves to kick tires on pretty much anything, even if it's just mild interest. He kind of wants to find out what's going on around the league. The Maple Leafs connected to a lot of different trade candidates at this point. Nothing has materialized, but are you feeling as though there could be a big deal that is swung at some point this offseason by Brad Treliving?
Well, there's not a lot of resources for the Leafs to move. I mean, they have great players, of course, but they have a lot of big names with big contracts that are going to be hard to move. And they have no picks to throw into the pile. They've gone that route, just a couple of second rounders between now and in 2027. So they're very ill equipped to go out to chase somebody on an offer sheet, for example. That's another a strike against them. So I don't see a lot out there. There's certainly a lot of bottom sixers, and and at an extreme, if Morgan Riley's looking for a change of address, I guess. But again, there's another guy with a big contract, so I don't really see that being the way that they're going to go to move. But stranger things have happened. To Treliving's point yesterday, it might not be a July 1st thing we're looking at. It might be right up until the start of next season that somebody shakes loose elsewhere. And we don't know. I mean, also we have a different hierarchy in place now. Remember that there is no Brendan Shanahan, and that the coach is getting a bit more say in this, and that may affect. Just going back to our first topic, the free agency. What impact is Craig Berube going to have in terms of bringing in people? I know some of those St. Louis Cup guys are getting long in the tooth, but Berube's influence on this can't be discounted either.
Well, Berube would have loved to have added Braden Shen at the deadline, and of course that didn't happen. A lot of teams would have liked to have Braden Shen, but to Lance's first point, the Leafs don't have much to trade here. There can be rumors and speculation and everything and this, that, and the other thing, but the fact of the matter is the Leafs don't have people to trade. What are you going to do? Brad, they don't have a first-round pick this year. They don't have one next year. They don't have one the year after, as of right now. You have one really good blue-chip, to me, prospect in the organization, and that's Easton Cowan. You going to trade him for someone who may or may not help you win a first round or second round in the playoffs? I don't know. I just don't see it. You're not packaging Nick Robertson in a deal. I mean, if you are, more to it. I mean, Nick Robertson didn't, exactly fetch a ton of interest at the deadline in March. So I don't know. It's like Lance says, we'll see where it all comes out in the wash, and it might not be something right away, as Treliving alluded to yesterday. But the fact of the matter is, when you don't have a lot of assets to move, you're not going to be able to swing big trades. And a guy like Morgan Riley, I don't think is, unless things have changed since the end of the season, has zero interest in leaving. And I don't know that he'd even consider waiving his no trade. So I don't know that they're stuck in a corner, because there is lots of time. And like I thought a good quote yesterday from Treliving was, "Look, July 1 is coming. We don't play on July 2nd, right?" So there is time to get things done, but as it stands right now, the Leafs just don't have a lot of options, period.
Yeah. I'd only add that had Dennis Hildeby had a better year in goal, maybe maybe that's there's a bargaining chip, but he didn't really excel where everybody thought it might be a good year for him to move. You didn't see him have the good year everyone thought. So you kind of take him off the board as a major trading chip.
And again, even with a guy like Hildeby, Lance, you're not getting a star player in return.
Oh, right? Yeah. So, I'm thinking about him as part of a package, maybe. That's
but I mean, again, what else would be like that? Again, like the package idea, I don't know. They're going to have to. And the thing too is you don't have anyone coming from the Marlies. No. Period. You just don't. So it's going to be really incumbent this weekend for Mark Leach to do something with these picks that they have on Saturday and try to start rebuilding something, but. As we know, as Sankey said yesterday, we're not going to know for a long time whether these players pan out. So
64th is a long way to the NHL.
Yeah, exactly. And everything after probably 10, you don't know, right? Which is like it is in every draft. But you don't want to be too negative on it. But the fact is, Leafs just don't have a ton of options right now that way. And again, how that works out during the summer is going to be awfully fascinating, I think.
Well, I think it's pretty clear it's going to be a tough needle to thread for the Maple Leafs this offseason with the limited options, but they're going to have to do something if they want to get to where they want to get to. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. For Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.